What's going on, guys? BriarRabbit here. Today I want to give you guys a quick walkthrough on how to solo this week's Nightfall. This one's a lot easier than last week, just because you don't have any one room that is super dangerous until you get to the boss at the very end, unlike last week. So this week you really want to focus on equipping your weapons with void damage. So I was using Truth as a rocket launcher, Praedyth's Revenge for a sniper, and Atheon's Epilogue as an auto rifle, and that served me pretty well. It really did a good job at taking out the mobs of smaller enemies, and then the sniper rifle was really good against the bigger enemies. So once we get to this room, this is the first place you're really going to start getting into trouble, and what you want to do is just take out these mobs as quickly and efficiently as possible without taking too much damage. So you'll see that they kind of spawn up on the top left first, then they come down this little path. You want to take these guys out, and then they're going to spawn in that room right there that I'm pointing at now. And they will pretty much stay in that room if you keep firing on them. So if you have anything that does area of attack or something that like a rocket launcher or something, you can just fire it in there. Sniper rifle works great, and just kind of do as much damage as you can while keeping them in there. And they really don't present much of a problem as long as you do that. Those servitors are very susceptible to sniper fire. I think it's 3 hits to their critical area to kill them, and maybe like 5 hits if you don't hit the critical area. So they're not very difficult. They don't have very good aim either, so you don't really have to worry about them killing you. You really just want to make sure that you don't get surrounded by the mob, and just take it easy, be careful. Use that door I was just hiding behind for cover. Once you clear out this room, you can pretty much use this room as cover for the rest of this area. For some reason, once you clear it out, other enemies don't really like going in here. So you can pretty much go up on that top level and use that door up there as cover for the remaining servitors as well as the rest of the mobs that come out. So you'll see I just kind of hop up here, and that door I'm peeking at right there is what I'm going to use for cover for basically the rest of this little area. And, this area is not too difficult. You really just got to be concerned with staying alive. If you start taking damage, retreat behind this door, let your shield kind of heal back up, and just be careful. And it's really not that difficult. This was probably one of the easiest parts of the strike as far as I was concerned. Really, there wasn't that many hard parts of the strike. Other than the final boss, you just got to be really careful about Minotaur's there and actually his rocket fire. So once I'm in here, I'm just using this as cover. I'm trying to take out, I think that is a captain. Trying to take him out before he does much damage to me. Again, once I start taking damage, I just back off, take it easy, try not to get myself into any trouble. And let Atheon's Epilogue pretty much take care of these enemies for me. Now, it should be noted that ammo seems to be a big concern on this strike. So you'll go through a lot of ammo. I would definitely stock up on a lot of ammo synth packs before you get in here. I also brought Icebreaker with me so that I could use it to regen sniper ammo. That's got a nice little glitch to it. If you are using a different sniper and you run out of ammo, you can switch to Icebreaker, let that ammo regenerate, then switch back to the sniper you want to use, and that will have ammo. So it's basically like an ammo generator, and it works really well. You'll see me use that against the boss later on. Once you kill all the servitors, you're going to see some of these vandals spawn in. They're not really that big a concern, because they're not a one-hit kill like the thralls were last week. So those thralls were really annoying last week, and these vandals this week aren't as bad. So once I kill everybody in here, I'm pretty much just going to run around, try and fill up on ammo. Like I said before, ammo is a big concern for this week's Nightfall. I found that I was constantly using ammo synth packs and constantly looking for ammo, even against the final boss. So once I do that, once I'm pretty sure I have all the ammo I can get, I'll actually use some ammo synth packs so that I don't run out of ammo while I'm fighting. And you'll see I do that a number of times during this strike. So once we do that, we're going to go up to this top level here. We'll go up this ramp, and I'm going to switch to my rocket launcher because this room can be kind of a pain in the ass. There's a lot of guys on the top level that will snipe down at you. So I just fire a rocket up there, then I throw a grenade down here to take out these enemies. And that takes out usually about half the enemies that are in there. So I really recommend that method. It worked really well for me. Truth kind of gets in the way a little bit at the time because it tends to detonate before you intend it to. So sometimes you actually have to use 2 rockets instead of the one that you were planning on because, you know, it just doesn't get to the destination quite when you want it to. And once I do that, you're going to see a couple of vandals in here. I just kind of try and clean up these vandals, using the door as cover, just retreating if I take any damage. And then there's some invisible vandals up at the top here. Basically, all I'm going to do up here is use this little area for cover and wipe out the rest of these guys. These invisible guys are really hard to see from down by that doorway, so it's actually really hard to take them out. So I really recommend going up to that top level, using that little box as cover, and then again, once I kind of clean up this area, I just walk around looking for ammo, make sure I'm not missing any ammo, and that is going to be the hardest part of the beginning of the strike. So even though that wasn't that bad, that's really going to be the most danger you're going to see for a couple of minutes here. Once we do that, we're just going to kind of truck it through this area. We'll get to a platform that we're going to jump off of and kind of surprise some enemies down here. So this hallway is kind of filled up with enemies. We'll just kind of jump down, surprise them, and wait for their buddies to come help them and take them out. Criticals as much as possible really helps to take these guys out fast. That's not going to be news to anybody. There's a lot of dregs here, and this is basically going to be the last mob of these guys you're going to see. After this, we're going to start running into Vex, and the Vex are going to be a little bit more dangerous. We'll take out these 3 Vex in here fairly quickly, and you can just kind of wipe these guys out. Make sure you get criticals so they don't put too much damage on you, and you don't waste too much ammo. The next room is just filled with 3 harpies. There is something that you got to be careful of, is in the room after this, there are some Vex that can spawn into this room. They'll actually teleport in here while you are in here, and 2 of them have rocket launchers that will kill you on 1 hit if they make direct contact. So you got to be careful while you're in here. Just listen for that sound of Vex spawning. You're going to actually see it happen to me while I'm using this doorway as cover. So, you know, just be aware that some guys can spawn into here while you're in here. So once I clean up those goblins kind of near the door, I'm going to use a rocket launcher to take out these minotaurs. And once again, truth gets in my way, explodes too early, so I'll shoot another one at him. And you'll also see some hobgoblins up there, but now you'll see that I actually had a goblin that has a rocket launcher spawn right behind me, and he almost takes me out. I was lucky that he missed me. If he makes direct contact with that rocket, he will kill you in 1 shot. So you just got to be really careful of this guy. You don't have a whole lot of room to jump over those rockets in here, so just be real careful of that guy because he can end your run right there. So now we've got those minotaurs taken out. We're going to take out these hobgoblins with my sniper, and we're pretty much done with this area as well. I think there was one guy who was kind of stuck on an edge somewhere, but he didn't present much of a problem. So again, I'll just kind of look around for ammo. There's that goblin there. Just kind of standing there looking stupid. Just kind of glitched out. I don't even think I saw him yet because he's so still. There we go. All right, so the next area is we're going to walk around this corner, and there's going to be a whole bunch of goblins just kind of waiting for you. You just want to take these guys out real quick, just kind of strafe around, hit them with criticals. Every once in a while, those guys will spawn out into the area we just were, and you want to be careful of that because they'll actually be behind you at that point, and they can be pretty dangerous. After that, we're basically on the road to the final boss. There's one more mob of goblins that we'll take care of. I find that a grenade and a super pretty much takes out the whole group, and often they spawn an awful lot of ammo, which is really helpful against the final boss. This was one of the loot areas too, so you might be familiar with this area for farming for loot. These guys were really good for giving loot before they got patched. So as you can see, we take these guys out as quickly as possible, and now we are getting to the final boss. And the final boss is the hard part of this. Now, I think there's either 5 or 6 minotaurs that protect him at the beginning. 2 of them you can take out before the boss even comes into the room. And I really recommend doing that because the same area that those guys are hanging out in is going to be the area that I use to kind of protect myself from the rockets of the boss. So you'll see over here, I kind of peek over this edge, and I'm going to snipe these guys from up here. They're a little bit to the left, and sometimes they hide behind that column a little bit, but once I see them, it's only 2 shots for the small one, and then there's a yellow one that I think is a 4-shot kill. But he's so far away that he doesn't even shoot at you. Once you take those 2 guys out, I think 4 more Minotaurs will spawn in. So you don't want to stay up there because they'll start firing rockets at you, and more Minotaurs will spawn behind you. So you just want to be careful to, kind of get down here, get your cover, take out these Minotaurs with the rocket launcher as quickly as possible. And once you do that, you're pretty much in the clear. You're now going to be fighting the final boss. I think there was one more of them in here. No, did I get them all? All right. So yeah, now at this point, our final boss will appear. Nope, there was one more Minotaur. All right, so like I said, I find that the rocket launcher is really effective at dealing with those guys. The rocket launcher is really effective at dealing with the mobs that spawn too. The mobs are going to be the most dangerous thing about fighting this final boss. This guy, he can kill you very quickly. But if you use this area as cover, you're fairly well protected. You will take splash damage every once in a while because his rockets do a bunch of splash damage. But for the most part, you're pretty well protected back here. And there's a little alcove that you can hide it behind, which is going to be handy because the mobs will spawn on both sides of you and will be approaching you at the same time. So you can kind of use this alcove as cover while you take out one side or the other. One thing about this boss too is that his critical area is that big green eye. You're familiar with that. However, once you see that eye sees you, and he will start firing on your position. So if you want to be able to fire a little bit more, a little bit easier, and a little bit safer, you can actually just fire at his wings there. And as long as you don't see that eye, for the most part, he's not going to shoot at where you are. So you see, as soon as I saw that eye, he started firing at me. So that's kind of what I found about him is as long as you don't see that eye, he will not know exactly where you are. He might still be shooting in your general direction, but he's not going to pinpoint accurate kill you. That guy can actually kind of kill you right out of the sky while you're jumping with those rockets if you're not careful. So you really do want to be careful while you're fighting this guy. So here we have the first spawn of kind of a few mobs, and mostly it's goblins. I like to throw a grenade down there, kind of take the bulk of them out. Hobgoblins are a little bit annoying, and there's some harpies that will spawn, I think, in later mobs. You don't have to worry about it in the first one. So if you can get some damage on this guy quickly while this is happening, you'll be all set. You can see that I changed to my icebreaker so that I can regenerate ammo. I'll switch back to Pray This Revenge, and actually use that because the void damage does so much more damage than a standard sniper rifle against this guy that it really makes a lot of sense to make sure that you're firing at him with a void weapon. And Pray This Revenge is just a beastly sniper rifle. There's like 0 recoil on the thing, and it fires very, very quickly. So it's a really good sniper rifle. I think it's only available by completing the raid, though. It's just kind of a random drop by doing the raid. So whatever void sniper rifle you can get in the tower will also serve you well in here. So you'll see that I'm just being careful that I don't get killed by his rockets. He will kill you very quickly. He fires those rockets very quickly, and there's a lot of splash damage on him as well. I'm going to switch back to the icebreaker to regenerate ammo for my sniper. And while I'm doing that, I'm just being careful that those mobs aren't spawning. I'm not using my primary to do damage against him, against the big boss, because I want to save that ammo for the mobs. Those mobs are going to come very fast. I'm going to take a lot of damage while they're coming. I do not want to run out of ammo. There is a 5-minute cooldown on the ammo synthesis, so you just don't want to mess around with it. You want to make sure you conserve your ammo for when you really need it. I do mess around. I try and shoot him a couple of times with the icebreaker, and I'm just like, it's better to just wait until I can do void damage. So just being careful here. I'm not even trying to do damage to him. Just waiting for my sniper rifle ammo to refill. Looks like it refilled, so I'll switch back over to Pray This Revenge and start dealing damage again. And like I said before, I just kind of try and be careful here. I do damage to the sides. if I take a shot at the yellow, I try and make it one shot, and then I get to cover as quickly as possible because he is just so deadly with those rockets. And I really don't mind not doing critical damage just because, you know, if I can survive longer, I can do damage longer. So I'm switching back to Icebreaker, regenerate that ammo. If you don't have Icebreaker, you're going to have to rely on ammo synth packs, and that's going to make this a little bit harder because you're going to have to deal with that 5-minute ammo cooldown, and that can be a real pain. Once these mobs start to spawn, if they do get close to you, they will drop a lot of ammo. And you really want to be careful when you're fighting these mobs that you're not walking into an area where the boss can shoot you. So as you'll see, that they spawn on both sides of you. You got to be really careful. Make sure you're watching your radar, see who's closest. Harpies will come up on you very quickly. If you headshot any of the goblins, they can be very dangerous because they'll come up on you very quickly as well. So you want to try and do as much critical damage to the goblins as you can. As you can see, that harpy came up on me very quickly. And then as soon as I turn around, there's a goblin looking at me. So it's just, once you're in this little alcove, you are safe from the main boss, but you really got to be careful of the, you know, the goblins, the harpies, and the hobgoblins coming up and surprising you. You really just got to be checking both sides, making sure you're killing these guys as much as possible. If you have rockets at this point, you can fire those rockets down into the spawn point while they're spawning, and you'll take down an awful lot of them. So that's really helpful. You'll see me do that later. I just don't have any rocket ammo right now. I'm waiting for it to regenerate. Switch back to truth. I think that's what I'm planning on doing right now. There we go. So yeah, you know, and just like last week, I'm taking this slow. I'm taking my time. The whole point is to not die, because if you die in the Nightfall, you're way back at the beginning. You do not have a choice of spawning at the beginning of the boss. You know, it's a 20, 25, 30-minute run every time. You don't want to be spawning over again. So the key, I think, for the Nightfall missions is really to protect yourself. You want to make sure you're taking out the spawning enemies and take out the boss, really when you have time, when you have ammo available. Don't stretch yourself. That, I think, is the key. Don't try and, super the boss or do anything like that. You really just want to be as safe as possible. All right, it looks like we have... Oh, I took a little splash damage there. I was confused. I thought maybe another mob had spawned, but it was just a little bit of splash damage from his rockets. And his rockets are deadly. You really just got to be careful. There you can see I try and get a little aggressive. I almost pay the price. And there I am back in my little spot. So I'm going to huck a grenade down and throw a rocket in there, and you'll see it takes out most everybody that was down there. It's very useful. Unfortunately, a grenade gets me and puts me in a pretty rotten spot. So I was a little bit panic mode here, just trying to protect myself, but luckily my shields came back up and I was okay. So again, I'm focusing on that radar, seeing where the enemies are coming from, which side I have to be most concerned about at any point in time. Those harpies, once their shields are down, they are a melee attack to their critical spot, so they're not too hard to kill. Hobgoblins, you really want to be careful of these guys because those sniper rifles are absolutely deadly. And don't come too far to that alcove, because while you're shooting one guy in the front, another guy's shooting you in the back from the other side. So you just want to be really careful. Stay in this alcove as much as possible. If you have heavy weapon ammo here, use it against these mobs. Don't use it against the main boss, because you're really going to want it against the mobs, because the mobs are much more dangerous than the boss. So again, I'm trying to use weapon synthesis. My cooldown timer has not worked yet. So I'm really low on my standard ammo, and I'm a little bit worried about that. You can see that. So what I basically did is I found a little bit of ammo lying on the ground that was good enough for the next set of mobs. So I'm going to use Praethion's Revenge again to start dealing damage to the boss. What I'm hoping at this point is that I don't have to go through another round of mobs. I'm hoping that I can just take him out right now. So, unlucky for me, the mob spawned while I was doing that, and now I'm in a bit of a pickle because I did not get a grenade or a rocket down on those mobs. So now I got to deal with the entire mob coming at me from both sides, and it can be a little hairy from that point on. Unlike last week, there is no cheese spot that I've been able to find. I did not do any research to see, if anybody else had found one, because I found that, just using this spot here, using a little bit of cover, playing conservatively, playing smart, wasn't that difficult. You just got to kind of protect yourself here. And I think we're finally about to clean up this mob and finally kill our boss. Just a couple of more enemies to clean up. Be real careful. Always looking at that radar, because that radar is going to tell you which side the mob is coming from. All right, we'll clean up this hobgoblin and goblin, and I think we're back to just the boss. You can see a bunch of nice equipment over there, which I can't pick up because I'm full. I did go over there to try and get ammo because, again, I'm super low on primary ammo. And even though I think I'm close to killing this boss, I'm concerned that another mob is going to spawn. So I did finally get my cooldown timer to come off of the 5-minute cooldown timer. So once I do that, I'm able to use my ammo synthesis to reload my primary. I don't think I'm going to need it, though, because I think this guy's pretty much dead at this point. This 15 shots I have left in the clip is going to take care of him. So yeah, cooldown timer's still going. Okay. So yeah, just being careful, staying behind cover, taking pot shots at this guy when I have the opportunity. Again, I don't think it's a wise idea to go after criticals. I think it's too dangerous. You'll see I do it a couple of times. I almost pay the price for it, multiple occasions. I think it's better to just, take pot shots at the side of them, accept that you're going to do less damage, but be safer. All right, so now that I've got my primary ammo, I think I finally don't need it anymore. I'm going to wait for his shield to rotate. I do take a pot shot at the top. That is very dangerous because when I'm looking up there, I can't see where he's looking. All right, I think this is it. Maybe 3 more shots ought to do it. No? There we go. And he gets pissed off sometimes. He'll start throwing those rockets heavy. There we go. So that does it. That's how I did it. Hopefully it works for you guys. Again, it really pays off to have void burn weapons. You really got to customize your character for these Nightfall missions. And even if you're doing them with a group, the enemies are just going to have that much more health. So you really want to be able to put as much damage on these guys as possible. So stay tuned toward the end here. I'll show you what I got for completing the Nightfall. Thank you very much for watching. Hit that like button if you like this video. Hit subscribe if you're new to the channel. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.